Okay, when I see the name Frankenstein, what do you picture? I'm guessing it's a huge green monster kind of grunting with bolts sticking out of his neck, right? Well, what if I told you that the creature Mary Shelley dreamed up over 200 years ago was absolutely nothing like that? What if the real monster in the story wasn't the monster at all?
That right there is the big question at the heart of this classic, and it's exactly what we're going to unpack. It really forces you to look past the scary surface and think about some heavy stuff, like creation, responsibility, and what it actually means to be human, or not so human. So, let's just get this straight from the get-go. The creature in the book is a world away from the one we see in the movies. He wasn't some grunting simpleton. He was brilliant. He was articulate. And he wasn't born evil. Not even close. He started out kind, benevolent. The tragedy, the thing that made him a monster, was being thrown away by his own creator and hated by everyone he met.
Now, to really get this story, you have to know its origin story, which is, and I'm not kidding, completely wild. Seriously, the story of how Frankenstein was written is almost as dramatic and spooky as the novel itself.
The backstory here is just incredible. So get this. It all kicks off with a giant volcanic eruption over in Indonesia. This thing was so massive it caused a volcanic winter all across Europe. The summer of 1816 was freezing, dark, and rainy. An 18-year-old Mary Shelley is trapped inside a villa with some of the biggest literary stars of the day, like Lord Byron. And to kill time, he says, "Hey, let's have a ghost story contest." And boom, out of all that gloom, one of the greatest stories ever told is born.
What makes Frankenstein such a game changer, and really the first sci-fi novel ever, is that it wasn't about magic. It was all based on the cutting edge and honestly pretty terrifying science of the time, galvanism. You had real-life scientists who were zapping corpses with electricity in public demonstrations, making their limbs twitch and jerk. It actually seemed like science was this close to conquering death.
And you can just hear it in Victor's own words, right? This is all scientific ambition, not supernatural chanting. He's not casting a spell, he's using instruments of life to shoot a spark of being into dead tissue. This is a story about the consequences of technology, plain and simple.
And this, right here, is the absolute core of the tragedy. See, the book doesn't really say Victor was wrong for wanting to create life. The real catastrophe, the sin, if you will, happens in the moments right after his experiment actually works.
So, Victor's whole goal was about his own glory. He wanted to be famous, to be the guy who beat death. But the second he sees the reality of what he's made, this grotesque creature, what does he do? He literally runs away in horror. He just completely abandons this new, living, thinking being, leaving it all alone in a world that's going to instantly fear and despise it. That act of pure neglect, that is the story's real original sin.
And here's the kicker, the deep, deep irony. The subtitle calls Victor a modern Prometheus. In Greek myth, Prometheus' name literally means foresight, and yet Victor's single biggest flaw is the complete and total lack of it. He never, not once, thought about what came next, about his responsibilities after he succeeded. He was so obsessed with, "Can I do this?" that he never stopped to ask, "What happens now?"
Okay, so now we get to flip the script entirely. In what is maybe the most heartbreaking part of the whole book, the story completely shifts, and for a huge chunk of it, we hear the story directly from the creature, and we get to see step by step how this innocent being was taught how to be a monster.
And forget any idea of a mindless monster. The creature is a shockingly fast learner. He starts off as a total blank slate, secretly watching this loving family from a distance and learning what kindness and family look like. He teaches himself to speak, not just speak, but speak eloquently. And then he finds and reads some of the greatest books ever written. He literally develops a mind, a heart, and a soul, all on his own. Just think about this reading list for a second. It's so tragic. Through these books, he learns about intense love and sadness, about heroes in society, and, most crushingly, about God and his beloved creation, Adam, in Paradise Lost. His education gives him this beautiful, profound understanding of a world that he can never, ever be a part of.
And this part is just a punch to the gut. He reads the story of creation and he sees himself in it, but he doesn't feel like Adam, the cherished creation. No, he realizes he's the outcast, the one who is rejected and cast out. He decides that Satan is the fitter emblem, a better symbol for his own miserable life. His own intelligence is what confirms his damnation. I mean, this one line from the creature says it all. It's basically the whole point of the novel in a single sentence. He wasn't born a monster. He says it himself.
Misery made me a fiend. He was made evil by constant cruelty, by crushing loneliness, and by absolute despair. It's this powerful argument that we are shaped by how the world treats us. It's the lack of nurture that creates the monster.
So why on earth are we still obsessed with the 200-year-old horror story? Well, because Victor Frankenstein's failures are this timeless, blinking warning sign, and his story has become this essential, urgent cautionary tale for our own modern world of incredible technological creation.
Think about it. The questions in this book are the questions we are wrestling with right now. Do the people creating AI have a responsibility to raise them right, to guide their learning? When technology goes wrong and causes harm, who's to blame? The person who made it? The person who used it? The technology itself? These are no longer just philosophical questions from an old novel, they're headlines.
In the end, Frankenstein isn't just a monster story. It's a story about a creator who failed his creation in the worst way possible. And it leaves all of us with this one massive, haunting question for our time. As we push the boundaries and build our own new forms of intelligence, are we going to be ready for the responsibility that comes with it? Are we prepared to be better creators than Victor Frankenstein?